Oh my God, you guys, I'm so excited. We are here with Leeor Gal, aka the Therapy Gal. Leeor, I'm so excited to have you. Thank you for being here. How are you doing?
I'm so excited to be here. I'm doing great. Today it's like 70 degrees here on the East Coast or Northeast coast. And I'm feeling good. I mean, the sun I feel like just like heals all.
Oh my God, there's a giant bug. Oh my God. Oh my God. Sorry. Oh my God. Sorry.
Bar- Barkley, you gotta go pay
Oh
your
my God. Oh my
rent.
God. Oh my God. I don't know what to do. Hold on. Hold on. I'm actually gonna call Michelle. I'm the biggest baby in the world.
Wait,
Okay.
how big is what kind of bug is this?
It's not that big. It's like an earworm thingy. Like I
Ew.
hate.
What's
I
an
can't.
earworm?
Like earwig thing. I don't know. It's like long and skinny and
Like a
sorry. This is
like
really
a
embarrassing.
what if you kill it? What if you throw a shoe at it?
I don't
Is that scary?
yeah.
That's scary. Okay. What if you put Barkley near it? Would he do something?
No. Okay.
Let me
It's
see.
like
Oh. Oh,
there.
I
There.
see
It's
it.
not even that big. You see it. It's not that big. I'm just a really, really, really big baby. What do I do?
It's tough to live in New York City with
Yeah.
with the bugs.
Um,
Okay. I mean, you either gotta like take something really long and stand far and smack it, okay? Smack it, or this would be worse, I think, but shake the
no, no,
blinds.
no, 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 no
Okay.
visceral reaction to that.
So we
Should I
need
just
something
should I just
long.
move away?
If that is
And
what feels the best.
But update, I've moved away from the bug and we're gonna try this again. Okay, Leor, how are you doing?
Well, now I'm in a super giggly mood. So
SOS.
it's gonna be hard to stay present. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I'm feeling good. Excited.
That was so pathetic.
No, it's okay. It happens. We're all afraid of something.
This is true. Some of us more than others. Um I don't know.
We all
I don't
choose fear in a different way.
I don't know how to switch gears right now. Okay. Well, I'm really excited to have you. Thank you so much for being here. There's so much I want to talk to you about, but I want to kind of center our conversation around a very timely topic, which is timely for a few reasons. One, holidays are coming up. Everyone is
Mhm.
feeling a little bit extra anxious, I think, about going home for the holidays and being single or not having a plus one to bring or to talk about. And it's also, we're deep into cuffing season. And I think a lot of people feel like they have tried literally everything to find their person and they're coming up empty. And I know I've been there. I know how hard of a feeling that is and how it makes you want to give up. But I know so many people have expressed so many different anxieties they're having around just never finding their person. So that's kind of a big picture what we're going to talk about today. And I'm really excited for you to help us with that conversation. Before we do that, what led you to being a therapist? What got you here?
Yeah, so I always love this question because it's non-conventional. I mean, this wasn't like a lifelong dream of mine where I always knew I was going to be a therapist and yada yada. And I always get asked this question, and I hope I don't disappoint people, but rather encourage people that you can basically do whatever you want. But long story short, I went to school for communications. I was doing public relations. I felt like I was working in like what was the Devil Wears Prada. I was working in fashion. I did a PR internship in New York City. I was like, oh my gosh, this is not for me. It was 4 years of school. I graduated. I worked in sales. Terrible for me. I was not good at it. And then one day I just quit my job and I was like, I'm going to become an occupational therapist. And that was it. Like I just quit my job one day, went back to school, finished my prereqs, then decided, all
Why
right, like,
why OT? Why was that what you decided to
yeah,
do?
good question. I just wanted to help people. And I felt like, I mean, I was always interested in healthcare. I never thought that I could do it, whether it was like educationally or physically or emotionally. And I was like, I found OT and I was like, this is really cool and it can help a lot of people. I ended up getting waitlisted from a lot of schools and then ended up getting rejected. It's a really hard grad school program to get into. And my school, one of the schools that I applied to, reached out to me and was like, hey, we also have this like marriage and family therapy program if you're interested instead of OT. And I was just like, okay. And that was it. And
Wow.
then I became a therapist, and it was the best decision, the best spontaneous decision I've ever made in my entire life. It was meant to
Wow.
be.
Did you have any curiosities or questions around, like, what is marriage and family therapy? Like, what does that consist of? What's that gonna be doing? Or were you just like, "Yeah, like, let's see what happens. I'll either like it or I'll do something different."
Yeah, like, I mean, I definitely, like, Googled it, and I searched it, and I read books, and then I had my, interview, and then I got in, and I was like, "You know what? If it was just this easy," to me, it was just a sign. Not that I always wanna lean on signs or believe in signs, like, it's sometimes that isn't the case, but
Yeah.
it just so happened to be for me, and I went with it, and it's like my calling. Like, I really connected to it, and I especially, like, during the pandemic, I was thinking about all the healthcare workers and, like, going into the well, not the office, the hospitals and everything, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh my gosh, how lucky am I?" I got really lucky. I got to stay at home or go into an office where I'm not treating people that are in the hospital. So,
Mhm.
I
But
think
still
it
help people in a way that was needed then more than ever.
yes, yep, exactly. I mean, I really got thrown in, and it was amazing. I'm so happy.
That's incredible. I love that
Yeah.
story because you never know where, like, a phone call, an email, an opportunity can take you, and I feel like I talk to a lot of people who ask for career advice and, like, "How did you get where you are?" And I'm like, "I never planned this, like, this was not on my, like, wish list or my
Yeah.
10-year plan, like, I somehow fell into this, and I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else."
Wow. Because you get to be creative, and
Yeah.
you get to use your brain in a different way that you probably wouldn't get to in a traditional computer job or desk job or whatever. And it's remarkable. I mean, I get
Yeah.
that.
Exactly. So, when it comes to dating and relationships, what have you found some of the themes to be in terms of your clients and what they're struggling with the most?
Yeah, I think okay. Through my progression of being a therapist and being, a person now in their 30s. I just turned 30 a month ago.
You literally could pass for 23. I don't know if that's I think it's a
Yeah.
compliment,
No, it's
but
a compliment. I'll take it. I hope I
great.
stay like that forever.
Yeah.
Um, but something that I've always noticed is this, like, progression of the apps, and I'm sure I know you probably talk about this a lot on your podcast, and just how this shows up. But I'm noticing a clear connection between people struggling with dating and the apps, because they can be really, really good and really, really harmful, in the sense that there is so much out there that the brain just keeps wanting more, something more. I feel like there's more out there. I feel like I can't, settle, quote unquote. And then it gets people in this position where they really struggle with either finding someone or staying with someone, because there's always something better out there, right? Right at the tip of
That
our
Yep,
fingers.
exactly, and it's like, "Well, is this good enough? Do I like this person enough?" I get that
Mhm.
question all the time. How do I know if I actually like this person enough or if I'm settling? And it's so sad that people are asking themselves that question, I think now more than ever, just because they know there are more options out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, like you said, do I like this person? And then the other question is, what does love even look like? Right? Like,
Mhm.
people say I love you. Some people say it quicker than others, some people say it later, but really it's what does it mean to you specifically as an individual? Because we all come from different backgrounds, different family systems, different understanding of what love actually looks like. And then we come together with another person who's completely different, who has a whole different upbringing than us, and then we're
Mhm.
like, whoa, we're just supposed to, like, figure it out. It's wild.
Yeah, it's like we're supposed to know how to love each other, right, in different ways that the other person needs that we're not familiar with. I think that's a huge
Yeah.
issue that we see come up too is you have to really communicate the way you want to give and receive love and make sure that that's aligned with somebody else. And even as little as like, oh, like, how do I know? Like, I got a question the other day of, it's been 6 months and he hasn't said, I love you. Like, how can I get him to say it? And I'm like,
Mm,
you can't get him to say it, but if you love him, why don't you say it and let him know?
yeah. Yeah. It's the fear, right? We
Yeah.
always a lot of us fear, and this is another part of dating, is a lot of us fear rejection,
Yeah.
and really understanding what the rejection really means to us, really bracing through it. It's like, I mean, it's like a quote unquote failure. It can feel like, even though it's not, it's absolutely not, but it can feel
Yeah.
like that for a lot of people. At least something that I've noticed with my
Yeah.
work.
I ask people to share what they're currently anxious about in their dating lives and relationships right now, before getting on this recording with you. And somebody wrote in, I'm afraid I may actually never find somebody because of my fear of rejection.
Mm. Hmm. Right. So it's like you're standing in your own way,
Yeah.
right? It's what's worse, the devil you know or the devil you don't. It's taking a risk either way, right? Falling in love and not allowing yourself to. It's a risk.
Yeah. It is. But what happens if you don't try?
Mhm.
You'll be exactly where you are right now wondering what if. If you do
Mhm.
try, it could go really well. It could go well for a little bit of time and then somebody can get hurt, or
Mhm.
you try and you instantly realize, "Oh, this isn't a fit."
I think an unpopular opinion, or maybe not even unpopular, but maybe something we just don't talk about, is there's going to be pain in relationships. Even in the most successful relationships, you're going to experience pain. And most people, I would say, unless I do have a friend that's married to her first boyfriend, first guy she's ever kissed. I know.
Wow.
Wow. Um,
A
but
unicorn?
yeah, but it's a unicorn. Exactly. Most of us have experienced breakups and they're terrible. It's so heartbreaking. We don't really talk about how terrible, how it's a grieving, right? When you end a relationship. So I can understand how people would then, especially if you've been through it, how scary it would be to jump back into another one or to be vulnerable with somebody new without knowing how it's going to turn out,
Yeah,
right? That's the risk.
absolutely. It is, but I also think there's a huge payoff in that risk where
Oh,
even
yeah.
if you do get your heart broken, I have come out so much stronger from every single heartbreak and from
Mhm.
every rejection. It has made me into who I am, and while I don't wish that feeling on anyone, it's one of the most painful things you could ever experience in life is getting your heart broken, and
Mhm.
it completely transformed me and made me who I am, and I wouldn't want it any other way. Like, I wouldn't undo it if I could go back in time and undo it. I'm glad it happened.
Well, it led you to the person that you're with today, right? It
Yeah,
taught you the lessons, and I'm saying that, although I also hate telling people like this is take this as a lesson, right? Like we don't
yeah,
actually want to hear that. But it taught you lessons about yourself and what you're willing to accept, what your non-negotiables are. And the only
yeah,
way to determine that, unless you're dating someone from when you were 15 years old, is to go through this trial and error and understand what works and what doesn't. And not everyone's going to be a good fit for you, and that's
yeah,
okay.
and you're not gonna be a good fit for everyone else either. So,
Yeah.
you'll reject just as many people that reject you.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think that's something to take away, like, rejection isn't an evil thing, it's a part of the process, and there are pros and cons to rejection, but I think if most people you talk to in h like, after they take the time to heal, they'll realize, like, "Oh, yeah, this is why that rejection happened, like, this is why that didn't work out, and I'm happy for it, I'm better because of it."
Mhm. Makes you stronger,
Yeah.
more capable.
Exactly. Exactly. So I got a lot of messages from people
Yeah.
expressing something like, I'm anxious that I'll go on hundreds of dates and never find the right person. I feel like I'm falling behind on life milestones. I feel like no matter what I do and how much I put myself out there, I'm not finding the one and I'm worried that I might never will.
Yeah. And it's really tough to be in a position where you're viewing everybody else around you as quote unquote succeeding, even though that's not what being in a relationship means,
Mhm.
and feeling like you're not up to par or on the same track as somebody else that's your age, or somebody else, that's near you, that's living near you.
Or even where
I
you wanted yourself to be, the expectations that you
Mhm.
set for yourself.
Exactly, exactly. I would say to that, it makes me think about whenever I talk about self-esteem versus self-compassion, where self-esteem, basically what it means is we're constantly comparing ourselves to others. Our self-esteem can be high, right? If I get a promotion and you don't, I feel good about myself because I got the promotion. But if you got the promotion and I didn't, I would feel bad. This is where self-compassion comes in. This is where I want, you guys listening to really start practicing is that's what's going to be there for you during the downs, because you're allowed to feel upset. You're allowed to feel like, I wanted something different for myself, and also have that compassion of, okay, well, I'm here because I haven't been presented with the right opportunity, or I'm not looking to just date anybody. It's important to me to feel XYZ with a person. And so another thing is we can look at other relationships. We don't really know what happens behind closed doors. We don't know if they're really happy. I mean, what's the percentage now? 50% of marriages end in divorce? Like, we don't want to just get married to get married. We want to get married because this is the person, we want to spend the rest of our lives with. And so, although this person that asked this question is, it is really hard to see everybody else in the place where you want to be, and it won't be helpful focusing on them. That's not what's going to get you to where you want to be. It's focusing
Yeah.
on yourself and working through, okay, well, what's been going on for me, and why am I here, what has brought me to this place.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think even to go as far as like if there are certain people you follow on Instagram, I might be one of them who post pictures with their significant other and it upsets you or makes you feel like, oh, like I so badly want that. Like, why don't I have that? Like, if you know every time you see these things that it upsets you, go ahead and mute me. I don't
Yeah,
care. I
yeah.
care more about your mental health and how you feel than you seeing my picture. So do what you need to protect your emotions and your peace. And,
Hmm.
you might have friends. I think we've all been in the situation where we have a friend who maybe we're on the same page as them in our singlehood and we're in it together. And then they end up finding somebody before we do. And then they don't shut up about that person because they're so excited about it.
Yeah.
If there are certain people in your life where you have conversations with them daily and they can't have a conversation without bringing up their significant other and it makes you feel a certain way or brings you down, they don't know that you're feeling that way. So
Hmm.
you have to do the hard thing and communicate to them like, "Hey, I'm so happy for you and Joe, and I love that you're so happy and that he treats you so well, but I'm really struggling with my current lack of being able to find somebody and I just the more I hear you talk about it, the more it upsets me that I don't have that. So I hope you can understand if we can talk about it a little less. And any friend who loves you is going to completely respect that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because both can exist at the same time. You feeling super happy for your friend, and you feeling like you need to boundary the conversations around their relationship at this moment. If it's
Yeah.
hurting you, it's not serving
Ooh, I
you.
love that.
Just made that up.
Love that. Wait, did you really?
Yeah, I don't know. It just came.
Wow. That's that's gonna be a caption or something soon.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I really like what you said about, like, you're not just trying to marry somebody, you're trying to marry your person, the right person who lights you up, who makes you feel the way you wanna feel, and who brings out the side of you that you want them to bring out, and I think it's so important to remember, like, I have no doubt in my mind that every single person listening to this, if you wanted a relationship, you could find somebody to date you. You
Hmm.
could absolutely find somebody to be your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your partner, your whoever. There's
Yeah.
somebody out there that would want that
Hmm.
100%, but they might not be the person that you want or the person that you deserve. And so
Yeah.
really focus on the fact that like you are such a dynamic, unique, special individual and you're looking for someone who's equally as dynamic and unique and special in their own way that fits in with all of your uniqueness and that's really hard to find. But it's worth going through it. It is so, so worth it
Yeah.
when you do find them, and you will.
I absolutely agree with you. And as you're saying that, I'm actually really curious to hear your perspective. Do you feel like, and this sounds kind of black and white, but do you more relate to birds of a feather stick together or opposites attract in relationships?
Ooh. That's a good question.
Yeah, I have a little theory about it personally. So I'm curious what you think.
Ah, yeah, I feel like my answer is also not black and white. Like, I think it's a mix of both. You know,
Yeah.
it's not one way or the other. I think there's a blessing and a curse to each. I think it's so wonderful to meet somebody who's so similar to you, where you fully just get each other. I think it's also wonderful to meet somebody who's so different, where you bring out different sides of each other that you didn't know existed or had never really
Yeah.
been activated or explored before. But you can't be from not you can't be. It could be more difficult if you are so different where you maybe can't relate on certain things or you
Mhm.
grew up completely differently and have a whole new set of things to learn that you
Mhm.
just were never aware of before. And it could also get boring to be with somebody who's your carbon copy.
Mhm. Mhm.
What do
Yeah,
you think?
I mean, I fully agree with you. I think when my clients ask me like my perspective on it, I always say it's important to be with somebody that challenges you, right? So they're different than you. Meaning, if I'm extroverted and my partner is introverted, they teach me how to be chill and I teach them how to speak up, right? And on the opposite end, what should be similar is sort of what you described as our values, our morals, our goals, our beliefs. And I don't mean beliefs like religion wise. I mean, definitely you can date someone outside of your religion and still have a very successful relationship. Um, but just the point that as long as you have those things in common, that's the foundation of a relationship. So to people that are listening now and are dating and are, trying to figure that out, I always like to mention that okay, like it's good to be, especially like late 20s, 30s, 40s, like, and 56, whatever, whenever you're dating, like really understanding like what their life goals are is
Yeah.
gonna be extremely important. So I wanted to mention that.
Well, it's funny that you mention your friend who, high school boyfriend, first kiss, first everything. Those situations are more and more surprising to me, not because it's like, wow,
Mhm.
you made it through college and whatever, and we're on the same path, but because like we change so much,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially in our 20s, that for two people to meet at such a young age when you have no idea who the hell you are. And you're
Mm-mm.
just like, you sat
Mm-mm.
next to each other in a class or like thought the other one was cute and ended up somehow like kissing at a party and then just you were each other's significant other because that's what it
Yeah.
was. It's crazy for two people in that situation to grow and change together and individually in a way where you're still compatible and you do value the same things and want the same things. And I know there's a million bumps in the road along the way,
Yeah.
but it's just so mind blowing. It's
Hmm.
beautiful, but it is so crazy.
Yeah. I mean, when we think about it, our frontal lobe only develops when we're 25. I think that we shouldn't have to work a full time job until that develops, personally, because we're not adults.
We're not
We're
we
not
don't
fully
know
formed.
anything. We don't know. I can't kill a bug on my own still.
Yeah.
Or relocate the bug as my brother Andrew would prefer. I cannot relocate a bug as a 29-year-old individual. That's something I gotta
Well,
figure out.
but that's neither here nor there because you are a full functioning adult and you have this beautiful apartment that you've created. And you know what? The bug just crashed. It's
The
not
bug
paying
would
rent.
really
It's New
wanted
York
to
City.
play yeah.
It's
But I
rude.
work I work really hard to be able to afford this apartment. Who does the bug think it is?
Yeah.
I don't know the bug's gender. Who does the bug think it is to just waltz in here, also interrupt my recording that I've been looking
Yeah.
forward to?
Rude.
Rude.
Just rude.
It's not all about
Totally
the
agree.
bug.
No.
um, I wanna ask you something. You mentioned finding somebody who challenges you.
Yes.
I had a conversation with somebody about this recently, trying to figure out what that really means or what it should mean. And this person was a little defensive about it, saying, like, well, why do I don't want to be challenged all the time? Like, that sounds annoying. That sounds frustrating. Why do I have to find somebody who challenges me? So I would love to know your take on what that really means or what that looks like in a healthy relationship.
Yeah. Well, I don't know fully the conversation you had with this person, but using absolute words like all or, all or
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah. Like, absolutely. You shouldn't be challenged all the time. That would be terrible. I mean, that would just, honestly, it would feel invalidating at a certain
Mhm.
point. Um, I just think that in order to grow, we have to evolve and we have to really allow ourselves to soak in different things in life in order to be like a full, like well-rounded individual. It's good to understand different perspectives. Now, that doesn't mean that I have to agree with the different
Mhm.
perspectives, like 100% no, but like I mentioned, it's like the more of like the smaller things. Like I'm trying to think about like me and my husband. He like the example that I gave, like I'm very much like I gotta do something, I gotta like go on a walk, I gotta go on a hike, I gotta go like, and he's like, can we just like watch TV? And it's so important for my parasympathetic nervous system to like relax and do some like
Mhm.
mindfulness, and it's good for him to get on a walk. So it's things like that that are going to be important to sort of like, this is what I mean by challenging each other. Or if I'm like, my business is not doing well and I'm just going to quit, and for him to be like, no, Leor, like you got this. It's a tough month. Let's brainstorm together. Let's get up and do this. That's challenging me, right? It's not just saying, okay, all right, don't do it, right? Because then where would I be? I wouldn't have a support system. That's my
Yeah.
perspective on it. That's how
No,
I look at it.
I like that a lot. It's you're being challenged in a way that makes you better and supports you and opens up your world. It's not like arguing about every little thing or debating all the time. It's like there's somebody who loves you so much that they want you to be the best version of yourself, and they're going to
Mhm.
hold you to that most of the time or some of the
Yeah,
time, not all the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And sometimes he'll say things to me, I'll say things to him, and we're like, "F off," like,
Yeah.
and that and that's okay. Like that,
Yeah.
you are your own individual. You have a voice. But yeah, I think it's good to have a different perspective.
How did you and your husband meet?
We met junior year of college in a snowstorm. We were neighbors, and we never even interacted until like the second semester. And then it was a snowstorm, and that was it.
Wow.
The
I love
rest is
that.
history.
The rest is
Yeah,
history.
I was
I
young
love
too.
that.
I mean, when you think about it, like also meeting somebody in college, like that's pretty young. Like
Mhm.
when I really look back, I'm like, holy crap, I was a child.
Yep, but
It's
you grew individually and together in a way that worked.
We did. And you know what? We didn't live together. Like when we graduated college, he lived in North Jersey, I lived in South Jersey. So for
Mhm.
years until we bought a house together when we were 26, 7, that's when
Wow.
we moved in together. So we actually
Wow.
really did get to grow apart in a way, not in
Not
like
like
that,
growing
apart like
apart, but
that.
you got to
Yeah,
be individuals and have your own
exactly.
lives, and I think that's really important.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, so as the holidays are coming up and people are feeling a little bit more down about being single, or they really were hoping, "Oh, I'll have someone to bring to Christmas or Thanksgiving or Hanukkah or whatever holiday this year." They don't have that person.
Mhm.
They've tried everything. What would you say, how could we guide somebody, either we're not trying to snap our fingers and give people a partner, but just to feel better about where they're at right now during this time where people feel more alone?
Yeah. Well, my therapist's response is a little bit more complicated than just here's what you should do.
As it
I
should
think
be.
yeah, right? Well, it's up to the individual when we really think about it. Like what is it that makes us want to bring someone to the holiday, right? Is it because we don't want to brace our family by ourselves? Like, is that why? Is it because we want to show someone off? Is it because we don't want the questions of, are you dating anybody? Right? Like, I really want you guys to think about why is it that this has become something so important to me? It's almost like commercialized. Commercialized? Is that the word? Doesn't sound right
Yeah,
to me right now.
commercialized.
Okay. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think so.
is that the word I'm looking for right now?
Commercial,
And, consumerism? It's a C word and I
you're doing
can't think.
great.
Thank you, thank you.
Consumption,
N no, I don't. I'll explain it and then you tell me what it English is my
You know,
second language.
the second we hang up is when we're both gonna figure out what it was.
It's always like that with me and my clients. Oh, at the end, I'll have to say some funny things that I say to my clients, but, um, but it's sort of like, okay, it's like bachelorette parties. It's like bridal showers. It's like all these things we do because like everybody else does it, and we think like, well, it's is it commercialized? Is
I
that
think
the
it
word?
is. I
Okay,
think you were
okay.
right.
Okay, thank you. Not that it's wrong to have all these things. I mean, like I had them. It's not wrong to have these things, but it's like, is it really what I want, or is it what like all the Christmas movies and all the holiday movies tells me that like I'm gonna go back to my hometown. I'm gonna meet like this lumberjack, and it's gonna be like so amazing. We're gonna fall in love, and then I'm gonna move to Arkansas instead of living in the city. So
We've all had that
really,
dream.
yeah. Exactly. I mean, I don't know if I want to be in Arkansas, but no, I definitely think that a lot of people just have the dream of what it would be like. Like we fantasize what bringing a partner home for the holidays is, where realistically it might be great, right? Like, and it also might just be, yeah, this is like Jack, and yeah, we're dating, and you eat your food and then you go home. Like, and then that's it's one day, right?
Yeah.
Thanksgiving is one day. Hanukkah's 7 days, but you really kind of only celebrate it one day, right? Christmas is one day. I guess there's Christmas Eve, but it's one day, right? And we can do hard things for one day. And if it feels like I only want someone because I want to bring them to the holiday, then we really need to understand why we want to be in a relationship, right? What really motivates us to be in one.
Yeah. I think that is so wise and something I've never really heard anyone articulate before. And so thank you. I think that will provide a lot of comfort to a lot of people. And I think it's just so important, yeah, in like every situation to think about like why do we want this person? Even again, like when you're scrolling social media and you see a happy couple doing a TikTok dance together, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I wish I had like I used to think to myself, oh, I wish I had someone to do TikTok dances with. Like, no, no, that was definitely not a priority in my life, but I
Yeah.
desired it because, again, it was commercialized and made it look like, well, that's what a happy couple is, so that is what I want, and that is
Yeah.
not true. And I have somebody, and he will do a lot of things, but he will not do a TikTok dance, and that's okay. So, yeah, I do think it's so important to take a pause, and if there's something you want so badly or you think you want so badly, think about what those reasons are behind it. And I think also if you're worried, if your Aunt Judy is going to ask, "Oh, like why are you single? Like why don't you have anybody yet? Like the clock's ticking." Like just come up with some answers ahead of time that you can
Mhm.
say back that you're prepared for. So you don't even have to be afraid for when this happens. You already know exactly what you're going to say back. And
Yeah.
maybe it's, "Oh, actually like really not focused on dating right now because I just got a promotion and I'm working really hard at my job." Or, "Yeah, I've met
Mhm.
a lot of people, but nobody has gotten me excited and I'm holding out for somebody who's really special." Like that is a completely valid answer.
Yeah.
It's also valid to say like, yeah, dating's really hard right now. Like I don't know the last time you were on dating apps, Aunt Judy, who is 78 years old, but good luck if you ever want to try them and then you can come talk to me.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And yeah, meeting someone in person too. It's all hard. It's all
It's all hard.
hard. It's all hard.
It's all hard. But you're not alone.
Mm-mm.
And no one's
Mm-mm.
actually asking you that question because they're like, "Oh, what's wrong with you that you're still single?" They're just like they think that happiness is having a partner and
Yeah.
they want that for you, but really what they want is for you to be happy. And
Yeah.
so if you can kind of reroute the conversation to be about other things that are making you happy, that's a win.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like you said, like, redirect the conversation. Like, you can say one of the beautiful phrases that you just mentioned, I loved all of them, and then you could be like, "Oh my god, I forgot. I have to, like, grab blah, blah, like, the plate out of the," and totally
Mm.
disengage.
Hi.
Like,
Yeah.
change the subject. "Oh my god, I have to go to the bathroom." Like,
Yeah.
you can get yourself out of there. You can answer if you wanna be polite, and you can, take yourself, or you can also just be honest and be like, I because I'm not dating, or because I haven't found someone, or
Yeah.
mind your own business.
Exactly. Mind your own business. I love it. Yeah, I think that's such a good skill to have of how to get out of conversations you don't wanna be in. I need to be
Mhm,
better at it because I will stay there until the bitter end, and it's
mhm.
so awkward and uncomfortable, and I just need to get better at, like, "Oh, I'm gonna go grab a drink. Do you want anything?" Or,
Yeah.
"I gotta run to the bathroom. I'll see you around."
Yeah, I'll see you around.
I'll see you around. See ya never.
My stomach really hurts, you don't wanna be around me, trust me.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you gotta say.
That is me all the time,
Yeah,
actually.
same,
That is the
same.
fact.
Same.
Um, one person wrote in something that I would love your take on. They said, "I'm anxious about seeming needy. I want to be able to be myself without worrying."
Okay, this is my favorite question.
Yay.
Mate, I'm gonna hit you with a one-liner on this one. Maybe it's not that you're needy, but that you just have needs,
And having needs is
period.
normal.
Yeah,
We all have needs.
yeah. I mean, what does needy even mean? I mean, we all have, yes, we all have our needs. We all have our non-negotiables. We all have our things that we're not willing to accept without change. And yeah, there are gonna be times where that doesn't match up with someone that you're dating, or let's say you really value good morning texts and the other person doesn't send them, but that's like something that's important for you. That's a bid for connection. You desire that because you want to be thought of in the morning, right? Okay, it's not just about the text, there's deeper meanings to it.
Mhm.
You're allowed to say, "Hey, I really like it when you send me the good morning text. I really like getting good morning texts." I think it's more about the delivery of expressing our needs, which you are allowed, more than allowed to, rather than the need itself, right?
Yeah. And somebody who's not able to show up for your needs, that's not the person you want to be with. And so I'm
Mhm,
a huge proponent for we all have needs, like, express them. Ask
mhm,
for what you need. That is a great filter to find out, is this the right person for me or are they not the right person for me? And if you don't feel comfortable, if you feel, like, so afraid to express your needs to somebody, that might also be a sign that this isn't a fit,
right,
because you should be able to ask for what you need without fearing a harsh response or being made to feel like, "Oh, that's ridiculous that you're asking that," or "Why do you need that?" And I
mhm,
think the way you phrased it too of like, "I love when you send a good morning text, it makes me feel good." Expressing why you want something, I think, is a really good thing to add. It's not just like, "Oh, I want you to text me in the morning so I know you're thinking of me." It makes me
yeah.
feel really good when I hear from you when I first wake up. It makes me feel special.
Yeah. I always say, we want to use I statements, not you didn't send me a good morning text, even though a lot of us, we get really in our feels about it. But
Yeah.
that, I feel really loved when I get a text in the
Yeah.
morning. I feel really, connected to you when, XYZ, or I feel really sad when I don't get a text message. You're also allowed to phrase it in that way. Right.
Yeah.
So I statements, guys. It's the best way of communicating.
Yeah, because they don't want you to feel sad. They want you to feel special if they are
Hmm.
somebody who is invested in you. And if they're not, that's okay, but that's good to know so you can say,
Yeah.
"Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next.
Yep. Thank you, next." Okay, a few unrelated, longer listener questions I wanna get to because I feel like
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
are just gonna have amazing answers. As a guy, how do I combat the anxiety of approaching women in real life? Additionally, how do I deal with rejection without taking it personally or being embarrassed or afraid to try again? Dating is hard.
Dating is hard. I think for men, there is that expectation of them being the ones that need to approach women. If he's referring to a heterosexual relationship, of course. Um, I would say it's always going to be a hit or a miss, right? Always approach people with respect, with well intentions, with you know no, not that I think this person would with any creepy pickup lines, but like it could just be like, hey, what are you guys doing here? Like, do you guys come here? Do you come here often? um kind of just sparking a conversation. And you can feel when somebody's interested, and you can feel when somebody isn't. So that leads to that question of rejection of like, if you're talking to someone, you got the courage to talk to somebody, and that's like, it, it is very hard. Um, and then you notice that they're kind of like looking away, or they're not engaging, or they're not asking questions back, you know, that's tough. And you didn't really do much. If you really think about it in the grand scheme of things, you didn't approach this person with flowers and a dinner date and, all these things. You just approached them and you started having a conversation. They weren't interested, they didn't show signs of interest. And you can say, okay, well, it was nice talking to you guys. Like, have a good rest of your day or night or whatever. And just chalk it up to, all right, this is a person that isn't going to be my person. I deserve to be respected. I deserve to
And
be talked to.
and you can be proud of yourself because you did a really hard and scary thing,
Yeah.
and the more you do it, the easier it will get. So, what's
Mhm.
the worst that's gonna happen if you go up to a woman? Probably
Mhm.
the worst thing is that they won't be interested, but that's
Yeah.
okay because if every woman that would go up to you, which I know they're probably not, like, you wouldn't equally be interested in all of them back, but you'd still be flattered. So if anything,
Yeah.
you're still giving somebody, like, a positive, flattering, nice experience, and you're getting the practice in. So I think it's just about really, I have my favorite all-time favorite movie quote from a very underrated movie that surprisingly nobody I've ever talked to has seen. It's called
Mhm.
How to Buy it's I Bought a Zoo. I Bought a
I
Zoo.
wanna say, okay, yeah, I haven't seen
Bought
it.
a Zoo. Phenomenal film.
Okay.
It's
I have to
the
watch it.
quote the quote is, "All it takes is 20 seconds of insane courage, and I promise you something great will come of it."
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Eventually, if you try it enough times, you're
Yeah,
gonna score.
yeah, and just count to 20, count to 10, be like, "Okay, on the count of 10, I'm gonna take a deep breath, and by the time I get to 10, I gotta be in the conversation. I gotta start walking over there." Like,
Yeah.
just talk to yourself, like, talk yourself up, hype yourself up the way you would hype your best friend up, you know? These are
Yeah.
all scary things that we wanna do, and just the reward could be so amazing.
And bring a friend.
Yeah,
Bring a friend with
bring
you.
a friend. Bring a
A
friend.
wingman.
My ex always gave me a lot of attention, and I got used to it for 10 plus years. I'm now dating someone new for 3 months, and I notice I get major anxiety when the new person's attention level is not up to my unrealistic standards. I don't want to have these standards, but it's as if my body won't listen. How can I get past this?
Well, I wonder if they're unrealistic or this person is really just more avoidant, right? So that's my first thought. You were also used to something for 10 years, became a habit in a way, right? We form these connections with people, and it's really hard to, I mean, only 3 months, right? Like, it feels like a long time, but it's also not a long time compared to the years and years and years that you were used to something, right? So I would say, challenge yourself, check in with yourself, truly understand, is this person just, we're in the beginning stages of a relationship, and this person's just sort of not really like a, I mean, I don't know what the attention it is that this viewer is talking about, whether it's like texting or quality time. But if it's complete, I mean, if you're just questioning and you're feeling uncomfortable and anxious, and you're trying to talk to this person about it and they're unwilling to change or unwilling to understand where you're coming from, maybe that person is not the right person for you. And if you truly believe that this is a you issue only, I mean, therapy, number one, to really understand that. And I would look into attachment styles. I'd read more
Mm,
about those.
yeah. I like the figuring out, like, what is it you actually need and why? And, you know, just be maybe try and focus on the ways they are showing you attention or showing that they care about you that are different from what you experienced before. Because I'm sure while your ex gave you tons of attention, like, there were reasons that it didn't work out with him,
Hmm.
clearly, because you're no longer dating this person.
Yeah.
So, what are the things that this new person's doing, the qualities that they have about them that really excite you, that you feel really good around? Because this is a different person than your ex. And so their behavior, their showing of love or attraction or ease and happiness and joy is going to be different. And so I think also focus on, like, oh, this thing that they're doing is new, but that actually feels really good. It's just unfamiliar, but I really appreciate that they do that instead of focusing on, well, they're not sending me that good morning text that I got for 10
Hmm.
plus years.
Right. I always think of like dating as Goldilocks and the Three Bears. This bed's too big. This bed's too
Yes.
small. This bed's just
Just
right.
right. I love that. It
Right.
just might be
Have you?
like 54 that are too big,
Yeah.
48 that are too
Yeah.
small, and then one that's you think is just right, but then ends up being too small, and then a few
Yeah.
more of those, and then you get one. That
Exactly.
is modern dating.
And you don't even think that the just right is gonna be the one that's just right.
Yep,
It
exactly.
surprises you.
Sometimes you don't even wanna go on the date, and then, like, your friends are like,
Yeah.
"Just go," and then it works out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, my last question for you, my favorite question to ask, what is the best piece of dating or relationship advice that you've ever received or have to give?
Oh, I would say, oh, this is tough. This is tough.
I know.
Off the top of my head, the first thing that has come to mind, I don't know if it's the best, but it's just the first thing that came to mind is sleep on it. Sleep on it. Just take time, think about it. We get really, really heated in moments. We might say things that we don't mean. We might do things that we don't mean, that we might regret. And the only person you have control over in this world is yourself. And so I urge everyone, even with friends, any relationship, any type of interpersonal relationship you have in your life, boss, sleep on it. Go to bed angry. You do not need to make up before bed. Please do
I
not make
love
up.
that take. I
Yeah.
agree. Go to bed angry.
Yeah. Go to
It
bed.
might
There's
solve
no need.
everything.
It usually does, right? Who can possibly solve an issue when things are heated? People need that de-escalation.
I
So,
wish we talked about this 45 minutes ago so we could talk about it for the next 45 minutes. I'm
well,
obsessed.
we need to do another session then. A session.
Go to bed
Podcast
angry.
episode.
No, it literally felt like a
Yeah.
therapy session.
Yeah.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Leeor, thank you so much for being here. Where can everybody find you, and are you accepting new clients?
Yeah, so you can find me at The Therapy Gal. I'm on TikTok and Instagram. I sadly have underscores on Instagram, but still, if you type in The Therapy Gal, you should find me. And then, am I accepting new clients? Yeah, sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm booked and sometimes I'm not, but I do have a group practice. We're located in Philadelphia, but we also offer therapy in New Jersey and Colorado, along with Pennsylvania. So yeah, if you're interested, I have an incredible group of therapists, and we're just like me. We all think alike.
Amazing. I love it. I will have all of that linked in the show notes and on Instagram, you guys. So check it out. Trust me, follow Leeor. She has amazing content and is just such a great follow. Really, really great follow. And again, mute me if I'm not a great follow to you anymore. Don't unfollow
Same.
me. Just mute me though. Keep the number there.
Yeah.
This has been amazing. Thank you so much. And to everyone who tuned in, thank you for listening. Send this episode to a friend who needs to hear it. Send it to the group chat. Send it to your cousins. Send it to your Aunt Judy so maybe she can just back off and not pester you over Thanksgiving or Christmas
Mhm.
or Kwanzaa or New Year's. And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye. Thanks for listening, daters. I hope today's episode made you feel just a little bit less alone out there, no matter what your status might be. Give your finger a break from swiping and hit that follow and review button instead. And if you have any burning questions or want to share your own dating horror stories, reach out to seeingotherpeoplepodcast@gmail.com. And in the meantime, keep on seeing other people.